Good morning, everyone. It is Christmas Eve, and it's 6:40 in the morning, and I am waking up angry. Why is that? Because this thing has come back from the dead. I just got a client that texted me, and I rolled over, unfortunately, to see this bad news, but here we go. Says an anti-money laundering law called the Corporate Transparency Act, which we've discussed, appears to have been given new life after an appeals court on Monday determined its rules can be enforced as the case proceeds. In other words, the case isn't over, but this court says, oh, while it proceeds, they still have to do it. What kind of sense does that make? Once it's slapped down, they still already have all our information. Anyway, the law requires small business owners to register with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, by January 1st, or potentially pay fines up to $10,000. So what they're saying here is, while the case is in progress, we'll still have to pay these fines if they decide that it can be upheld. However, if they decide that it's unconstitutional as it is, they still already have our information. The registration rule had been on hold since December 3rd, when a federal court in Texas issued a preliminary injunction prohibiting its enforcement. But on Monday, yesterday, guys, the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals lifted the order, ruling that the decision is in the public's urgent interest in combating financial crime and protecting our country's national security. What does protecting our national security have to do with making mom and pop small businesses that got an LLC or a small S Corp or C Corp? What does that have to do with our national security? Anyway, the CTA requires that the owners and part owners of an estimated 32.6 million small businesses must register personal information with FinCEN, such as a photo ID and home address. I said before that I had one client that I had to do that opened their business in 2024, and that had to be done within 90 days, and that was even before the injunction. It only took a good 10 minutes. It's not something long, but once they have our information, who else is going to have our information? With the court ruling that enforcement can proceed, many small business owners will scramble. It says may scramble, but they will scramble to register ahead of the January 1st deadline. Although businesses that started in 2024 were given 90 days to register. A lot of those businesses that started in 2024 didn't even know that they were supposed to do this. Most businesses didn't even know that they were supposed to do this. And I was for sure this thing wasn't going to rise from the dead before the end of the year, but I was wrong. Some civil liberties groups describe the ruling, saying that the regulation represents governmental overreach. You think? The government cannot be allowed to maintain this unconstitutional stature, which stretches beyond Congress's proper authority to regulate Americans, said the New Civil Liberties Alliance, a civil rights group, said in a statement emailed to CBS Money Watch. The Treasury Department did not immediately reply to a request for comment from CBS Money Watch. So what I'm telling you all is to go ahead, set aside the time to register, because I don't want you to have to come up against anybody telling you that you have to pay any kind of fines to the government. They already take enough of our money, and we don't want them taking any more of our money. So let me see if I can update you on the gist of this whole thing. Failure to file can result in penalties, including $591 per day in civil penalties. I don't know where the 591 came from. So that's $591 per day in civil penalties, $10,000 in criminal penalties, and up to 2 years in prison. I know this is something that is so far, it's just so far-fetched because so many people don't know about it. The original deadlines, of course, were January 1st, 2025 for businesses that existed prior to 2024. If you start your business in 2025, you've got 30 days to file this thing. So anybody that's thinking about filing an LLC, S Corp or C Corp, anytime you have to go down to the Secretary of State and register the business, that's going to trigger this. And you have to do it within 30 days. And also, if you make any changes to your existing company that has been registered with the state, you have 30 days to make the changes with FinCEN. So I would go ahead and maybe set aside some time, maybe the 29th. I'm hoping that you all don't have as many businesses that I have to deal with. But go ahead and get it done, and let's see what happens. And if this is overruled, I think it might even go to the Supreme Court. But if it does, I want to see what they're going to do about the fact that they already have the information. This is how a lot of things passed into law a long time ago. They would do the same thing. They did the same thing with Social Security. And by the time it was ruled unconstitutional, or by the time the ruling came through that this wasn't something that they could do, it was already done. So you all have a great Christmas. This is Christmas Eve. Some of you will be busy buying gifts today. Some of you will be cooking like me. And I'm not going to let this sour the little holiday season, but it's really not something that we wanted to deal with. I will see you all on the 27th. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.